welcome everybody. Thank you, Eric, for inviting me today to present a webinar on how to leverage LinkedIn for real estate. So I'm going to jump in. You're going to learn a lot today at the end. I'm going to open it up for questions. I'm also going to let you know how you can work with me at the end, make you an irresistible offer if you want to take it to the next step. And my goal today is to give you some information about why you want to be on LinkedIn, how you can use it, and certainly how you can monetize it. So let's just jump in. Many of you are kind of saying, LinkedIn, why am I here? What can I get for it? You're just kind of quizzical and you're wondering, because I know that most real estate agents are very much on Facebook, very much on some of the other platforms. It might surprise you to know that 90% of the people on LinkedIn are actually on Facebook. So there is a very much of a mirror effect. Why do you need to be on LinkedIn as a real estate agent? That's what we're going to cover today. I'm going to teach you the 3 steps that you need to gain credibility, visibility, and profitability. Because here's the one thing that I promise you, whether or not you choose to use LinkedIn as a way to generate business, and that business not necessarily is going to come from the direct end user like myself, who might be in the business, who might be looking to sell or buy. The likelihood is that probably that business could come from a realtor in another state who has a referral for you. It might be a CPA, it might be a divorce attorney, it might be a divorce coach. It could be a number of different people that are already working with your target market and are in a position to refer you. We're also going to talk about why your LinkedIn profile has to contain certain things to make you the only logical choice for people to do business with. And in fact, after somebody looks at your profile, probably the only reason they wouldn't want to engage with you is they didn't like you. Probably not very likely. And then finally, I'm going to talk about my favorite part of this, which is how to create a tribe of loyal followers. And all that really means is, do you know how to post? Know what to post, how to share, like, and comment. So let me just give you a little bit about my backstory. I have been an expert in business networking since, oh my gosh, longer than I can remember, probably 2005 maybe. And I wrote a book called The 2-Minute Networker. I'd been teaching people how to network very effectively offline. And then when LinkedIn came about, I became an expert on LinkedIn. I wrote a book on it in 2009 called The ABCs of LinkedIn, Get LinkedIn or Get Left Out. Wrote another best-selling book 2 years ago called Convert Your Connections to Cash and Relationships to Revenue. And I have been teaching and training how to network and use LinkedIn for over 10 years. And like many people, life kind of happened. So I got married when I was very young. You can see that picture. I was a very skinny brunette, very young brunette back then. I was married for 28 years, had 2 amazing kids. On the left, you'll see my 28-year-old, that's Vanessa. She works in Orange County in the nonprofit field. And on the right is my 30-year-old, who is a recruiter in Denver. And then 10 years ago, life happened. My 28-year-old marriage dissolved. I got divorced, something I never expected to happen in my 50s. My mother passed away. My $800,000 house got short-saled for $350,000. I had a cancer scare and nobody was hiring speakers and trainers. My business had flatlined and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be a supermarket greeter. And then I remembered I had superpowers. And my superpower was connecting people and knowing how to use LinkedIn. I had spent the first 20 years of my career as a paralegal. So LinkedIn was a pretty natural for me. I knew how to connect the dots. And what I did is I went out and got my life insurance license. And I said, well, who has my client? And I knew it was the mortgage people, because anybody that buys a house typically needs life insurance. Fast forward, and in the first year, using LinkedIn alone, I generated a 6-figure income. And I figured out that I had a system, and the system was easy to duplicate. So I stopped selling life insurance and have been teaching and educating people on what I like to call the SHER, S-H-E-R system to unlock LinkedIn. But here's the best part of the story. I remarried my ex-husband 4 years ago. So I jokingly say I have a husband, a husband, didn't have to change my name and the kids are ours. And here truly is the best part of it. What I'm going to share with you today, what I'm going to teach you, has set me, because I do what I teach, so financially free that my husband's going to retire from his corporate job a year from today in April. So I guess a little bit less than a year now, right? So that's kind of the backstory, but I really want to tell you that LinkedIn is actually better than Facebook and Twitter if you're looking for lead gen. And according to HubSpot, it's 277 times more effective for lead gen. So here's my question. I love this. I just love this slide with the toilet paper. Are you gambling with the future of your business by not paying attention to LinkedIn? I'm guessing that you probably are because of the blind spot. The blind spot is you don't know what you don't know. And there are literally more than 2 million realtors in the US. What are you doing to stand out from your competitors? This is one of the most interesting statistics that I found. It's a little bit dated. I'm guessing it's probably much higher now. But according to Inman, 43% of sellers look at an agent's LinkedIn profile before that listing appointment. And I'll never forget when I did a training in Orange County with KW. And I asked all of the agents in the room, I said, how many of you have ever lost, or have any of you ever lost a listing because of your LinkedIn profile? And one woman was brave enough to raise her hand and she said, I did. And I asked her what happened. And she said she'd been selling for 35 years, knew that she was going on a listing appointment where there was another agent that was going to be considered. And that's pretty common these days. Also before COVID-19, obviously, when people saw people face to face. And she thought she had nailed it. You know, when she walked out of there, she thought, okay, this is going to be a great listing. It was in Newport Beach. And she didn't get the listing. And she was so shocked that she called the woman and said, I'm just curious, why didn't you choose me? And she said, oh, my son looked at your LinkedIn profile and said that I couldn't hire you. The other agent had a much better LinkedIn profile. So you can't really underestimate it because you want to look at it two ways. Not only how much business are you gaining, and I'm going to show you the steps to get that, but how much business are you losing? So why should you as a real estate agent be on LinkedIn? Because LinkedIn has a 2.7% visitor to lead conversion rate. Now that doesn't sound very high, but it's 277 times higher than Facebook's. So just don't underestimate the power of this engine. The 29% of Americans, adults who use LinkedIn, boast demographics that are ideal for you as a real estate agent, far better than any other social media platform. 77% of the people that are on LinkedIn are over 30. Nearly half of them earn more than $75,000 a year. Perfect example, I have a 30-year-old daughter who, when all of this is over in Denver, basically is saying, I gotta go buy a townhouse. She's 30. Nearly half of the users are college grads, and 90% of the users make those household decisions, and those are the females, of course. So here's the thing. Many real estate agents are in what I like to call LinkedIn witness protection. Now, I have no idea who this gentleman is, couldn't tell you, just did a search and found him. So let's just look at this profile for a second. Here's his banner. This is what LinkedIn gives you. It's just the LinkedIn blue banner. He's not taking advantage of his branding. Now, what he did really well is he has a great headshot. If you have a professional headshot, you're 13 to 15 times more likely to have people to want to interact with you on LinkedIn. However, it just tells you that he's a real estate agent at John Hart Real Estate, okay? Now, if you're not looking for an agent that works at John Hart Real Estate, you will never find this guy because that's all it says under his name. So I like to say that people like this gentleman who looks, and actually he's probably extremely qualified, but he's in witness protection. Now let's look at Chad, one of my clients from several years ago. Chad's the #1, or he was the #1 broker owner in Minneapolis. And look at the background. He's got the beautiful lakes here. This is the actual area that he works in. Here's the branding exit. He has the gold button. That tells you that he's using the paid version. When you see that gold button, that means that person is more likely to interact with you. They're paying attention to LinkedIn. And then when you look underneath, it actually says they have a guaranteed selling program. In his case, he's wearing 2 hats. He's also looking to build his team, or he was at the time that I did this profile. So, question for you guys. Are you spinning your wheels trying to figure it out? It's not all that intuitive. Perception is clearly everything. And, you know, if you were to look at somebody's profile or even look at your own profile, you would probably say, yeah, it doesn't look bad. However, are you looking at it through the eyes of the person that's checking you out? And just a quick story, about 1.5 years ago, I didn't realize that everything that I was looking at was through a yellow haze. I had no idea that I had cataracts. And I was driving one day with a girlfriend on the 91 freeway, and she said, you need to pull over. You can't see. And I'm like, what? And she said, no, I've had cataract surgery. The lights are blinding you, and I really do not feel safe. And I ended up getting cataract surgery. And guess what happened? Everything became so much clearer. It's amazing. And I think these slides got a little reversed. This is sort of the yellow haze, and this is how I saw things afterwards. So if you could imagine that I had no idea that I was literally seeing things like this, seeing things this way. Oops, okay. And then it got clear. So have somebody else look at your LinkedIn profile and ask them how you are appearing to them. And if somebody was giving a referral to you and you knew that they were going to check out your LinkedIn profile, based on that alone, would they call you? So let's jump in. I showed you what that banner looked like with that gentleman who's in witness protection. Does your banner tell your visitors what it is you do? Does it separate you from your competitors? Is it an attention grabber for visitors that come to your profile? And does it act as a branding mechanism so it's consistent with what you have on all your other platforms and your website? Is your banner similar to what's on Facebook? Is it similar to what's on your website? So here's Amy. She's one of my clients. And if you look at Amy's banner, she's very well branded. It's the Amy Wengard Group. Here's a phone number, very professional picture, client obsessed, community focused, amazing branding. What does your banner look like? Then let's talk about your headline. Now your headline will default to your job title if you don't change it. So does it grab the attention of the person reading your profile? Does it have the maximum number of characters and keywords, separate you from your competitors, and introduce your about section? Here is Amy's headline. Now, one of the things that you'll notice about Amy is she has more than 120 characters, okay? One of the ways that there is a shortcut that you can do to double the amount of characters that you can put there. And it would take a little bit too much time for me to explain it to you right now, but even if it just stopped here, the Amy Wengard Group, Canton, Ohio top realtor, Akron, Ohio top realtor, notice those are keywords because she's getting found for where she is. What does your headline look like? If your headline just says real estate agent or just something very generic, my question for you is, how much business are you losing? So my question for you is, have you differentiated yourself from your competitors? Does your profile tell visitors why they should work with you? You know, a lot of times when you look at a LinkedIn profile, it just tells about your background, but that's not everything that should be in there. It should actually, you should be able to stand in the shoes of the person that's reading that profile and answer every question that they have. How long have you been in the business? How many families have you helped? Do you focus on a particular geographic area? Do you focus with buyers or sellers? If you're building your team, it should say that. And even more importantly, oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how many real estate profiles I look at that do not have an email, do not have a phone number, do not have a way to text you, have no website, and nothing about you. You know, the experts, my mentor in particular, I have a mentor, his name is Joel Bauer, and I study with him. And the one thing that he says is, your history should not be a mystery. Why are you in real estate? How can people relate to you? So you want to make sure that your profile, specifically in the about section, not just in the contact area, tells your visitors how to reach you, because if they can't, they're going to go to the next person. So now we're going to get to the fun part. There's 3 steps which I created that will help you to leverage the power of LinkedIn. And using these 3 steps, I have clients that are generating $30,000, $40,000 a month on LinkedIn. In fact, I have a mortgage client, Kirk Jaffa, you can check him out, who basically says, because he used this particular system, generated an additional $50,000 last year from LinkedIn alone. So first step is present yourself. How do you present yourself? You know, how are you showing up on LinkedIn? Well, let's look at Chad again. This is what Chad's before looked like. And you can see in the previously, they used to have your picture in the center. But when you look at it, nobody's ever going to find Chad. Right here, he still had the blue background, had his name, and then it was just broker owner at Exit Realty. Who's going to find him? Then when you come back over here. So the challenge is that experts like yourselves are showing up like amateurs. And again, it's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's just that you don't know what you don't know. So remember, we talked about the about section. So here's an example of another real estate client of mine who got actually a couple of referrals because of her profile. And her first 3 lines, which are the most important parts of your profile, says, are you looking for a professional real estate agent in the Houston area who is available, resourceful, experienced, and ready to serve you? Whether you are relocating to Houston on a permanent or temporary basis, or buying or selling a home in the Houston area, I can help you. How many times do you see the word Houston? That's a key word. Then it tells a little bit about her background, the services she offers, her contact information. This is just a brief snapshot. When I look at people's profiles, they don't look like this. And the worst word, other than putting it in third person, that you can write your LinkedIn profile is the word I. I can literally count when I look at a profile and it says I. And nobody cares about you until they know how much you care and what you can do for them. So does your profile have a professional headshot? Does it tell what you do, your skills, why you're different? Users with complete profiles are 40 times more likely to receive opportunities through LinkedIn. The other day, I was talking to a gentleman who's a 7-figure earner in the insurance industry. And he was curious to know more about LinkedIn. We were on a panel together. And he said, well, what do you think about my profile? And this guy had an ego. Remember, he's a 7-figure plus earner. And I asked one question. I said, are you a triplet? And he said, what are you talking about? I said, there are 3 people in your headshot. He said, oh, those are my partners. I said, then you need 3 separate pictures and 3 separate profiles. He had no idea. And his profile absolutely did not reflect how incredible this guy was. How incredible are you, and how are you showing up? You need to build your credibility so you won't have to say the same thing twice before somebody believes it. Because what somebody else says about you is 1,000 times more powerful than what you say. So yes, you want to have testimonials on LinkedIn, you want to have recommendations. And if you have those testimonials on Zillow, on Yelp, on Facebook, on your website, you can have them on your LinkedIn profile, and you should. Here's one of my clients, Tia, and Tia's a Houston real estate agent. She had positioned herself so well that she had another real estate agent call her and say, I have a CEO that is moving to Houston, looking to buy a home, can you help? And she got a new real estate client simply by positioning herself this way on LinkedIn. And it keeps happening for her. In fact, she's rebranded into her own company now. It's done so well. Again, I could give you story after story after story, but this is just one example. So when I talk about credibility, this is sort of just a smidgen of a smidgen of a smidgen of the people that I've worked with. Just a couple people that I want to just kind of focus on. This guy right here, Doug Crow, he's a ghostwriter. I worked with him probably 3 or 4 years ago. And if you go to my LinkedIn profile, you'll see, I don't want to use video on this because I'm concerned that it won't come out with the technology. But he made $30,000 the first month we worked together. And he has a waiting list because of the way that he uses LinkedIn. Terry Levine is another client of mine who's a business coach, and she makes $3 million a year. And she generates a lot of business because of what she's doing through LinkedIn. And here is Jill Conrath, who is the #1 female influencer on LinkedIn, who's my client. And you can see a lot of them. Again, if you have clients that you've worked with, and even if you don't want to put their names, put the number of people that you've helped. If you've worked with companies that have helped with Relo, you want to put company names. One of my clients is Business Group Resources, and what Ken's one of the co-owners of the company, and what they do is they get R&D tax credits for their clients. And for the last year and a half, I've been helping the 1099 sales reps, and they're getting such incredible success using LinkedIn that they're generating about $1 million a week in money back for the clients in R&D tax credits. So when somebody says something really great about you, how amazing it was to work with you, ask them to give you a recommendation or a testimonial. And you can see, you know, I didn't tell Ken what to write. He wrote this himself. You know, I've made a huge difference for them as a company because of the work that they do. And I just heard from one of their sales reps that said, using the system that I teach, and again, I teach people to use it with Sales Navigator, which is the paid version of LinkedIn. This guy landed a huge construction company, and that's going to generate 5 figures for him. One connection. Can't underestimate this. So one of the other things that happens, and I'm going to talk about how posting is so important on LinkedIn. I post all the time, and there is a woman who puts a list out every month of the top 50 trainers on LinkedIn. I didn't even know about this. However, one of the people that I share best practices with, who's in Australia, we jump on a Zoom every other week. And on one call, he said, "Hey, Rhonda, would you do me a favor? Would you nominate me as one of the top trainers on LinkedIn?" I'm like, "Absolutely." Well, unbeknownst to me, he nominated me. And I was recognized as one of the top 50 trainers. And I've been on this list for over a year. Now, I'm not telling you that to impress you, but what I will tell you is that every month when this list comes out, my inbox gets more inquiries than on any other time. Why? Because people will then look at my profile, that's a direct link, and I've separated myself from my competitors. Have you? Wouldn't you love to start a list that talks about the top real estate agents and put yourself on that list, or create something like that? Because people are 2 times more likely to be confident on the information they find on LinkedIn than any other social media site. You cannot ignore that statistic. So let's talk about step 2, prospecting. Prospecting is not sales. When you get an invitation from somebody and it basically wants to sell you, keep going, because how many times have you had a first date with somebody or a first meeting, and then the next thing you know, they don't even know who you are, but they're gushing to try and sell you. No, it's a process of creating relationships. So what happens with prospecting is you need to be able to reach out to people in a way that you're relating to them. Nicole's an interesting client of mine, and I shared this story because many of you get business by referral. I forget what the NAR statistics are, but the last thing that I remember seeing was that 88% of people, according to NAR, said they would use their real estate agent again. However, the real number is it's only about 11%. And the reason for that is they forgot about you, top of mind, right? So Nicole is an event planner, and her website pretty much didn't show that she had a lot of corporate experience in the pharmaceutical area. And her LinkedIn profile didn't show that at all. So somebody had said that there was a position, a consultant position for a pharmaceutical company that was looking for an event planner, and they thought she would be perfect. And they said, there's two criteria they're going to look at: your LinkedIn profile and how well you can interview. And I would encourage you to reach out and put your name in the hat. And it's going to be pretty competitive. However, most of the people that were putting their name in to be considered for this didn't have stellar LinkedIn profiles. So Nicole hired me, I upgraded and optimized her profile, and she got that $30,000 gig. So I would say she definitely got her money's worth. And from there, it's just kept steamrolling to where she's getting a lot more business like that. And she, in fact, has recommended me to many organizations that I've spoken at as a result of how happy she was with what I did. So again, when somebody refers you, know that LinkedIn is probably one of the first places that they're going to go look and check you out. Think of LinkedIn as the Google search for professionals. There's hundreds of millions of professionals that are searching every day, and they're looking for content. They're looking for you to solve a problem or meet a need. And that might be, help me sell my house, help me find a new home, whatever that happens to be. But how do you show up? Are you showing up with a profile that answers the questions of your referral partners of why they should engage with you? Or are you in witness protection? And that's one of the things that you really have to answer, because again, it's those key words. Remember, Houston buyer's agent, Houston seller's agent, very specific. It's how you get found. I love this expression, make your ask bigger than your butt. And Charlie, this is one of the books that I highly recommend. Charlie is a client of mine, and the name of his book is called Expose and Close. Charlie has one of the best systems ever for just developing rapport with people. And Charlie put a big event on in Las Vegas right before COVID-19. And he did a lot of connecting with people on LinkedIn. And what he found when I upgraded his profile, showed him my system, that within 5 days, he had increased his views by 33%. Now, if you know what to do with when somebody views your profile, and that's what I teach, how you take somebody who viewed your profile, create a connection with them, and then jump on a call, what is your bottom line gonna look like? It's gonna rise. I promise you that's what happens. So let's just talk about Google for a second. Years ago, my kids, when they were younger, Googled all the moms. And I thought that was pretty funny. And they Googled me and they said, what does your mom do? There's like 10 pages on her. Is she famous or something? And my kids went, no, my mom doesn't even have a job. She just talks for a living. And that's because I've been speaking for so many years. And every time I speak, people put that up on the internet, because what's on the internet lives forever. But when you Google me, guess what happens? My LinkedIn profile shows up above everything else. And I have a website that I don't even use. I get 70% of all of the business that I do doing exactly what I teach you to do. And here's Tia. That's the one who's in Houston. Take a look at what happened. I Googled her. First thing that comes up is her LinkedIn profile. So you can't underestimate the power of LinkedIn or the power of Google. So let's talk about the fun stuff, the money, profit. Where's the money in LinkedIn? So I created 7 steps to convert your LinkedIn profile into an appointment generating machine. Step number 1, identify your ideal client or referral partner. For many of you, That's going to be the divorce attorney, the divorce mediator. That's going to be the financial planner, the CPA. It's going to be those people in business. Maybe it's the HR person that's in charge of relo. Create that client-centric profile. Again, always in first person, and make it complete. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many profiles I look at that are not complete. They have no recommendations, their skills aren't endorsed, they don't even have education on there. If you are in real estate, you had to have gone to school to get your real estate license. Your license should be on there if you've won awards. You need to create a tribe of people that know, like, trust you, and follow you. Yes, follow you. This is when you're being followed by people, puts money in your pocket. Give and get endorsements, recommendations, and testimonials. I can't overestimate the power of a video testimonial. And right now with technology, it is so easy. Here's what I tell people to do. And if you're not doing this, you are losing money. When somebody says to you, even on Zoom, oh my gosh, that was amazing. What you did for me was beyond incredible. Ask them if you can record them, and take out your phone, or if you're on Zoom, ask them to record it on Zoom or any one of the number of different applications that you can use. Post, publish, like, and share. That will take you less than 5 minutes a day. And if you know how to take those likes, not the views, okay? It's not the views, it's the likes and the comments. You can convert those people into appointments, 2 to 10 appointments a week. If you're talking to 10 people a week and you got 1 referral from that, how different would your year look? You need to get a personal URL, because I'll show you what LinkedIn does. They default to just letters and numbers. And then you need to make sure that you have your privacy settings correct. And finally, you need to have a LinkedIn toolkit, and you need to know how to use it. And what does that mean? It just means you need a system. When you guys are selling real estate, you take people through a system. Number one, you find out what it is they're looking for, or if they're selling, you find out, what their expectations are, what they're willing to do. There's so many steps that you take people through. It is no different with LinkedIn. That's what I take people through. So if you're not doing these things, it's like you're going up to the ATM machine and walking away without your 20 bucks all day long. If you do not know who is looking at your profile because you don't have the paid version, the free version only tells you the first 3 to 5, you are missing out. It's like you're walking away from that ATM machine all day long. If you are posting and have no engagement because you don't know how to get that engagement, again, you're walking away without your 20 bucks. If you have engagement and you are not engaging with those people that are liking, commenting, and sharing, again, you're walking away without the money. So what's step 1? Identify who your ideal client or referral partner is. What's their title? What's their industry? What's their experience, location, interests? You need to know, and it doesn't have to be all that specific. You just want to know generally who those people are. And then you're going to need to step into their shoes. So here's a question for you. Does your profile tell people who you serve, what it is you do, what are your qualifications, why do people work with you, how do we reach you? I can't tell you how many profiles I look like that have no contact information. What are the results you get? And third-party proof of your results. So if you are somebody that's in real estate and you have a duplicated website, and there is nothing wrong with that, they are great. You want to differentiate yourself? Take your LinkedIn profile and make it something that is absolutely you, where people can learn all about you, because the duplicated websites don't always have all this information on there. And of course, your education and experience. Step number 3 is create the tribe of people who want or need your services. So you need to create that tribe. You want to engage with those people. And I just told you who they were. They're your CPAs, financial advisors, divorce attorneys, insurance people. Those are and again, also your end users, right? It might be your dentist or your doctor. You don't know. I always say follow the money. If you're spending money with people, make sure they know what you do so that they can refer you. Your vibe is your tribe. So who's viewing your profile? Who's reading your posts? Who's sharing your posts? Who's commenting on your post? LinkedIn will tell you who's viewed your profile. Again, in the free version, they'll only tell you the first 3 or 5, but in the paid version, they will tell you everybody. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where the gold is to be found. Because and right now, there is no better time to be using the paid version of LinkedIn and actively spending an hour a day. I'm going to show you something next. So there's 5 ways to create your tribe. Number 1, you want to search out those people that you want to be connecting with. And then you want to communicate with them. And you want to communicate with them in a way that isn't salesy. So it's a personal invitation. If you walk away from today, please walk away learning this. Never hit just the connect button. Always personalize your connection request. Tell that person why you want to connect. Do you have common connections? Did you both go to the same school? You know, what is it? Let them know you read their profile. And even on your phone, do not hit connect. It basically says, I'm lazy, and it doesn't give them a reason to want to connect with you. And by the way, if more than 5 people click, I don't know you, LinkedIn will shut you down. They put you in LinkedIn jail. And the first part of LinkedIn jail is not fun, because what they make you do is put the email address of the person you're connecting with. If you want to avoid that, you want to make sure it's a personal connection. And then the third thing is you want to ask people, you know, how can I help you? What can I do for you? When I approached Eric, I said, you know, are your agents using LinkedIn? I would love to put on a complimentary webinar and share information. And Eric said, that would be great. Don't know how many are going to show up, but I think LinkedIn's a good topic. So I just asked how I could be of service, right? You want to reach out. I have a program that I teach. It's called 10 before 10. Reach out to 10 people before 10 a.m. It's that simple. And just reach out in a way that said, hey, you know, I'd love to know how things are going for you. There's no better time than now with what's going on with COVID and shelter in place. 10 before 10, just the numbers will multiply. And then engage. Engage means pick up the phone, send out an email, send out a message, connect, and, you know, find things that are of interest to the people that you're connected to. And think about this, how many first level connections do you have that you don't even know? Reach out and engage with them, reconnect. Build a localized network of potential clients and referral sources. So think about it, you know, your mortgage people, your divorce people, the attorneys, those are all the people that you want to connect with, because you want to be the go-to person for them. And you want to be able to say to your clients and prospects, you know, I'm not just a real estate agent. I can help you if you need a CPA, if you need somebody to do your estate, you need your insurance done. You want to be that resource. And LinkedIn is the place that you're going to find all those folks. So step number 4 is really easy. Get and give recommendations. How do you get them? You ask. You make your ask bigger than your butt, and you give them. And you do this generously. And you know, you don't need 84. This slide's old. I think mine's up to 89 or something. But you want to make sure they're current. I cannot tell you how many profiles I look at, and the recommendations are older than my shoes. They need to be current. You want to make sure that you're getting recommendations on a regular basis and you're giving them. Very, very important. And, you know, this is just a small sample of some of mine. And again, you know, I never even used to ask for them. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not doing what I tell my clients to do. So I decided that I had a goal, and my goal is to get 100. I think I'm getting close. I have about 87. And the only time I ask for them is when somebody says, oh my gosh, that was amazing. I can't believe how many people are connecting with me, how many deals I'm getting. And then I just say, you know what? The people are going to look at your LinkedIn profile. If you're the last recommendation on mine, would you write a recommendation for me? So not only does it enhance my credibility, it drives people to the profile of the person who's the last 2 there, because they're going to look at it and then want to look at their profile. So it's a win-win for everybody. this is the next step in terms of posting, sharing, resharing. So I just want to share a quick story about this. This isn't even my post. I reshared this post. I happen to be a Shark Tank fan. I love Shark Tank. And I saw this post. It was a quote from Mark Cuban, and it said, rather than focusing on how bad it is, focus on how you can use this time to connect with your future customers. So I reposted it. I shared it. I put great advice from a great entrepreneur, put my 3 hashtags. Now, this is an old slide, because this number went way up past 9,000. I think I got to about 12,000. This isn't even my post, but here's where the money is. 347 likes, okay? Now, that number went way up, and I also had 38 comments. That number went up, and I had a lot of reshares. Why do I care about reshares? Because when somebody shares my post, then I'm exposed to their network. They're called second level, which means we share someone in common. And then where's the money? Remember I told you that the third step is profit? When you reach out to those people that have liked your post and you want to engage with them in a way that basically just says, hey, thanks so much for liking my post with Mark Cuban. Wonder if you're a Shark Tank fan. If you're up for it, let's jump on a call. And that's all you're really saying. There are different ways to do it. You can do it in a message. You can do it with a video, all of it using LinkedIn with a call to action. My call to action is, hey, if you're up for it, let's jump on a call. Here's a link to my calendar. 1 out of 4 will book a call, okay? That's huge, because if you can get somebody on the phone, you never know where that call is going to go. And there's a whole simple system, and that is what will keep your calendar full all day long. I did a post 3 weeks ago of a picture that said, free lunch every day at 11 o'clock. And it had a picture of all these brown bags with lunches on it. And I posted that. Oh my goodness. The number of views was through the ceiling. I had no idea. It's been reshared more times than I can count. And I've reached out to the people because my headline on that was, it's so sad that it takes a pandemic for us to be so giving and so kind, right, with the hashtags. And I started reaching out to those people, and the conversations have been amazing, which led to, oh my gosh, you know what? I know so many people that can use your help. And all I was looking for is a platform that I could do a free webinar in front of an audience that could possibly benefit from what I have, because I think it's really unfair for me not to share my knowledge. Is it unfair for you not to let people know how you can help them in real estate during this pandemic? I think it is. You need to be putting your information out there. So remember I talked about your personal URL? Here's Kathy. Kathy gave me permission to use this, and notice it gives a bunch of letters and a bunch of numbers. They will never find her. Here's mine. Take a picture of that, and if we haven't connected, connect with me. Just put that into the, put that right on the place where you put in a URL, and my LinkedIn profile will show up. Kathy's LinkedIn profile is, her URL is screaming, you'll never find me. Is yours screaming, find me or not? Because I put my LinkedIn URL on everything that goes out, every email, every single thing that I send out has it. Why? Because that's how I want people to find me. Anything you pretty much want to know about me is on there. So here's your LinkedIn toolbox. And what do you need? You need to know what to do every day. Remember I talked about 10 before 10? I strongly recommend that you get Sales Navigator. The ability to search and connect is so powerful. It's $79 a month. You do it annually, I think it's 20% less. It's like 788 bucks. You need a professional keyword optimized profile. Spend 60 to 90 minutes a day. For the time that you're spending scrolling Facebook, put it on LinkedIn and watch what happens to your bottom line. It will rise. And then you just need a few templates, some apps, some shortcuts, some ways to help you predictably present, prospect, and profit on LinkedIn. So here's my question. How much money are you losing by not having an optimized profile? And the good news is I'm going to make a special offer to you. And I'm going to open this up for questions. So here's the irresistible offer. If you would like me to upgrade and optimize your profile to get you out of witness protection so you can show up like the expert that you are and get those templates, the apps that I use, all the shortcuts, everything, I've made an irresistible offer for you that I'm going to show you. Or if you're not ready to go there and you just want to spend 30 minutes and have me go over your profile, show you how you can stop sending people to your competitors and go over your profile, I'll show you how we can do that. So what you get is the custom banner, custom headline, about section, the experience, every single section of your profile, plus the bonus of the webinars. It's normally $2,500. It is $997 if you take advantage of it today. And here's what you get with it. A 45-minute live and recorded webinar. And I'm going to show you how to search and find your ideal client. What do you say in your invitation? In fact, I'm going to give you the sample invitations, the sample thank you messages, how you can acknowledge birthdays. I'm going to show you how to ask for an appointment without being salesy and limit solicitations for people that are trying to sell you stuff. I'm going to show you where to find all the cool stuff that I post, because 80% of what you post should be motivational, inspirational, and I'm going to give you my cheat sheets. You get all of that and one payment, $997. Take a picture of this slide if you want. You just go to PayPal and use PayPal credit if you want to. They give you 6 months to pay. It's crazy not to. If you want to talk to me, I'll give you my email and you can do that. And again, you can take a picture of this slide, but you get all of that. And if you're not ready and you just want to do the 30-minute one-on-one Zoom audit, it's normally $197. If you go to my website, you'll see that's what it is. It's $97. We'll go over everything. I'll show you some of the little tricks on how to switch your privacy settings. And again, one-time payment on PayPal credit. If you have questions, there's my phone number, there's my email. You can connect with me.